Alright. I think everything's up and running and good to go. Let me get everything switched over and we'll make sure that things are running properly and get started on some Soul Calibur. Not noticing anything weird with the frames on OBS, so that's good. Alright, so we are jumping into a first look. I think it's the first time I've done this on the channel. But this is going to be a first look at one of my favorite fighting game franchises of all time. Probably maybe second or third. I'd have to look at all the fighting games I play and all the franchises. But Soul Calibur is way up there. I've been playing this series since Soul Calibur 2. So I figured it'd be fun to take a look, maybe talk through the game a little bit, do some lab practice, because I haven't played this particular version of Soul Calibur in probably a year. It's been quite a while. Hey, Iconic's here. What's up, Iconic? How you doing this evening? Hope your Friday is going well. I know you play Soul Calibur, so you might get something interesting in. Or at least find the discussion on today's stream interesting. But let me go ahead and load up. We're going to go into training mode. This game, as far as I know, has not received a rollback update. Because Bandai Namco doesn't understand the internet. So I don't know if I'm going to go online and try some online fights. That might be tough when I'm streaming, but we'll see. Kong says, I'm sick, so not the best, but hanging out with you is always nice.
Welcome to the stage
well, I hope you feel better, man.
Retold.
I know it's cold season. I've been trying to avoid all the different versions of the plague. Oh, hey, Sour Lad's here. Good evening, Sour Lad. How are you doing today? Alright, how many... There's a couple unlocks. This is a fresh save for the game. I've got nothing unlocked, no custom characters. But that's okay. We'll be dealing with the main cast. I have not played a couple of the DLC characters that have come out since I stopped playing the game before. Where is... Oh, here's Setsuka. Oh, here's Hamaru. I have not tried Hamaru from Samurai Showdown. And I've not tried out Huang. So definitely want to take a look at these characters because they're essentially brand new to me. Starlight says, I'm good and you? I'm doing alright. It's been a long week. Work has been kind of weird, which is why my stream schedule is kind of sideways. But I'm doing alright. Right now, it is incredibly stormy where I live. You can hear the wind. Hopefully it doesn't knock my power out. So if I suddenly blip and the stream ends, that's most likely why. But we'll take a look. And so I don't think I'm going to do kind of like a full breakdown of the entire cast. There's not enough time. We would need like 5 hours to do that. Instead, what I think I'll do is start with my main and break down how the game works, how it compares control-wise and mechanic-wise to other fighting games, and then maybe I'll cycle through the characters that I normally play a lot of. So I said, what is this game? This is Soul Calibur VI. This is the most recent, as of a couple years now, the most recent installment in Soul Calibur. And it is one of my favorite fighting game franchises ever. And I kind of held off on doing this one because I wanted to kind of devote more time to this in Fighting Game Month, but we haven't done Fighting Game Month yet. So instead, we're going to take a quick look today, and then I'm sure we'll get back to it in the future because this game's a lot of fun. But to break down the game, I'm going for my main. I think I've mentioned this before. In case I haven't, my main in Soul Calibur is Voldo. Mr. Blind Contortionist Italian Man. Iconic says Tekken, but with weapons. Sort of. Tekken is still mostly 2D on its planes. Soul Calibur is fully 3D. So it's similar, but kind of unique, and we'll talk about that. One sec here. My headphones are tangled up. Now let's go somewhere. Let's go here. Cox says Voldo is so fun. I gotta remember all the different moves and different abilities, but I've been playing this character since about 2002. I got into Soul Calibur in Earth School. Started playing it in the arcades in Soul Calibur 2. And the first character I picked up was Nightmare, who would eventually be split into Siegfried and Nightmare separately as of a couple games ago. I started with Nightmare in Soul Calibur 2, and then one day I was in the arcades, and I got absolutely murdered by a dude playing Voldo, and he did all sorts of crazy moves and whatnot, which I'll try and show off here. And I said, I gotta learn that character. That character is ridiculous, and that's how he became my main. And so in training mode, we have 3 dimensions of movement, unlike your regular 2D fighters like we've seen so far. Guilty Gear, all of the Darkstalkers games, Skullgirls, all those games are 2 dimensions. Soul Calibur is 3 dimensions and institutes what's called the 8-way run. And it's called that because if you think of all the directions on a D-pad, up, down, left, right, and all the diagonals, that is all of your movement in 3 dimensions. And so up and down, instead of moving us or making us jump like it would in a 2-dimensional game, moves us essentially laterally up and down. Left and right move us forward and back on a plane like normal. But we basically have 3 dimensions of movement, and all of the combat is based around that kind of navigation instead of just forwards and backwards. Sorry, that's a funny little walk. Yeah, Voldo he is a weirdo, but he's so much fun to play. He's kind of doing this like weird moonwalk thing. He uses katars, those bladed claws. Not my favorite costume of his, the spiky nips. He gets kind of outlandish outfit every single game. And since none of the custom characters I created on my original save are on this account, we'll just be going with the default cast for now, which is fine. So in addition to 8-way run, unlike other games which are punch, kick based for inputs, we have 3 different attack buttons. I gotta remember if I'm explaining this correctly. It's been a while. But we have A, which is horizontal attack. Swipes laterally and can catch people trying to sidestep. B, which is vertical and comes over the top, can be useful for hitting people that are trying to move forward or back. And then we have kick, which has multi-function depending on the character and the moveset. So 3 attack buttons, unlike your standard 4 or 6 buttons. Horizontal, vertical, kick. And there are combos that chain from the different normals. You can see the input viewer at the bottom telling you when to hit which button. But what's kind of unique and interesting about the way Soul Calibur works is, in addition to standing neutral attacks, they change based on where you're moving as well with the 8-way run. So let's say we're moving up or down and we hit A. All of a sudden, this regular cross swipe becomes a much bigger lateral swipe, has a bigger range, and behaves differently as a different speed. And that comes out from moving up or down and hitting an attack button. If we go to B on the vertical, all of a sudden the up and down movements become this uppercut and spin that causes a crumple, or a not a true crumple, kind of a stagger. Same thing for kick. Instead of just this front kick, moving up or down gives us this planted sort of double spin kick that causes a hard knockdown. And training mode is telling us, it might be hard to see because it pops up for just a sec, but it's telling you the height of the attack. These are all hitting high. In addition to just the up or down, left or right, so forward or backwards, also changes what the moves do. And for the sake of not taking forever explaining things, I'm not going to go through every permutation of directions, but the big ones to know are that the attacks change based on which way you're moving, and if you're standing or crouched, and there's a whole bunch of different factors that change how the moves come out. So if we go to the move list, where's Voldo's move list? Oh, where are my bumpers on this controller? There are a ton of moves for each character in their move list in Soul Calibur, because it's all depending on direction, depending on what combination of buttons are pushed. Some of them depend on whether or not the button is held. And so this is just all of the ones on horizontal. All the ones on vertical. All the ones on kicks. Simultaneous dual button presses. There's a lot. There's a lot to kind of memorize and learn, but it's not necessary to memorize the entire move list when you're playing a game like this. It's more important to learn how the moves come out and which ones are most effective in certain situations. And so we could talk about character gimmicks. Like Iconic has mentioned up in the chat, Voldo is a very weird character. He's surprisingly quick on his feet. His move speed and his dashes are not slow, even though he's kind of a big, kind of old character. I think canonically he's like 70 years old. But he does move. But one of the things that he has, that some characters have as a part of their moveset, are stances. Just like you have in other games where you enter in a combination of inputs and it puts you into a certain unique stance. Soul Calibur has a lot of that. A good majority of the cast have some sort of stance or input that causes their moves to change. And so for Voldo, one of the most common ones is, I can't remember the name of these. I remember the moves, but I don't remember what they're called. Let's see, where's special? Okay, we'll get to Mantis Crawl. It's probably the most famous one. Cagliostro Rush, that's what I'm thinking of. So, Hadouken input, quarter circle forward. It's not an attack. This is one of his stances. If you do a quarter circle forward, then you get this crawl. It goes forward a certain distance, stops, and then he stands up automatically. But it puts you into a low state, which can low profile high attacks or projectiles, and gives him the ability to close. So you go quarter circle forward, and you get that forward moving Cagliostro Rush. Now, in stance, you can do moves while the stance or special state is active, and moves come out of them. So his horizontal, vertical, and kick attacks change when he's going into Cagliostro Rush. So here's what horizontal looks like. He kind of lunges in, stands up a little, and goes for a quick high slash. On B, let's see. Remember how to switch directions too. This is blind stance. It's not the one I wanted to go into, but basically this is a stance where he turns around and he's fighting you with his back towards the enemy. Let's see, where is it? There it is. Okay. I think my muscle memory is always going to forever be his Soul Calibur 2 moveset, and they slightly tweak Voldo's stances every game. They didn't do it too much between 5 and 6, but they change it ever so slightly, so I have to kind of relearn my muscle memory every time I pick this game up after a while. But for Cagliostro Rush, to kind of illustrate, if we do vertical out of this rush, we get that triple hitter, which can either be one or two or three, actually. You can choose how many inputs to put into that flip and get 1, 2, or 3. There's one. Okay, 1 or 3, I guess. It's a pretty easy combo if you hit with the first one. And that... How am I doing with that? Oh. I'm not sure how that sort of elbow drop thing he was doing that spins him around, how that comes out. That's not a move I remember using a whole ton. But anyway, that's his first stance. The next one that I kept going into by accident, which... Look at the move list, and maybe it'll tell me how to get in and out of it easier. Where's blind stance? Oh, do they take out his ability to go into it by default? It's not going to matter a lot, but I did want to see if there's an actual input. Conic says, be right back. Gonna eat dinner. Alright, man. Enjoy your dinner. I hopefully will not still be on Voldo when you get back. But, we'll still be chipping away at the lab. Okay. Maybe, okay, that's fine. So blind stance is the one that spins him around backwards. And I remember that one of his key moves puts him in that state by default. And it's one of his kick inputs. It's back kick. Back kick, I think that's called Scorpion Tail. That's what it's been called in previous games. But that attack comes out incredibly quick. Hits low? Middle. You catch people and sort of launch them, and it's a pretty good combo move to get people into the air and set up for follow-ups. But after he does that, it spins him around, and just like all of the directional inputs change the attacks, in blind stance, the moves Voldo does change as well. And so his horizontal becomes this backward sort of hitting over his shoulder with the guitars. Vertical becomes this backward swipe. And kick becomes a side kick, which will spin him back around to the front if you just let the input go. And so one of the things that's pretty interesting about the complexity of the movesets is not only you have to deal with special stances, special states, directions, but hitting buttons at the same time also comes out differently for certain moves. And we haven't seen that a lot so far, but if I hit A and B at once, it gives this big sort of clap-looking move with the guitars that causes a hard knockdown. We take A and B and go down, it gives us this sort of bowing move, which has had multiple different names. So I think it was Evil Bow in one game, but it goes all the way down, hits you in the ankles, and knocks the enemy over too. Well, to illustrate the change in stances, if we go into blind stance and hit down an AB, instead of the bow, it's a low smack right in the ankles. And so one thing that I always did in different iterations with this character, if you go Scorpion Tail, you can basically combo them onto the ground. And so follow-ups and how things lead together is a big part of how movesets work in Soul Calibur. And you can do the Cagliostro Rush backwards or forwards. The input reverses, but you can do this sort of crawling lunge out of blind stance. And certain moves will spin him back around. Again, the movesets in Soul Calibur are really immense, but as you learn a character or pick up a main, you'll kind of figure out what movesets work well in a lot of situations. And so, again, I'm not going to go through everything because we'll be here for a long time. But the last stance to show off, that's probably the one that is most iconic for Voldo, that everyone who's seen a high-level player use, is called Mantis Crawl. If we hit down and B and K, get this move. Voldo goes into this very unusual sort of back bridge. He's walking on his hands and feet. This move is a stance, like the other ones we've seen. And you can combo into different moves out of it, and you have mobility. And unlike the other ones, as long as you're inputting a direction, it doesn't end the stance. You can move forward, backwards. This is special roll state is how you can sort of move up and down. But it doesn't do any damage. It's not an attack. And it doesn't have iframes, I don't think. This is just mobility. But out of Mantis Crawl, and there's two different versions. Let's see if I can remember how to switch directions. Whoops. There's head facing the enemy, and there's feet facing the enemy. And I remember... Okay, that puts you into head facing. We switch directions. Not something I use super often. BK or alternate inputs. Okay, this is the roll, up or down. A is the pelvic thrust of doom. I'll show what that does in a sec. That's usually what people remember about that particular stance. Fanatic Fool. Is it that one? Oh. No, that's just a sort of jumping attack. But I'm facing the opposite direction because I went into it from a different move. But now it's feet facing towards the enemy. And so this is Fire Dance, I believe. Double tap is a really quick rush, hits the enemy in the ankles. Actually leaves you wide open, so it's a bit of a risk to use, but you can use it to OGG, which is kind of fun. Alright, it's just A. A and Mantis Crawl spins around via this sort of swiping slash. So, feet forward, head forward, whatnot. That's a follow-up with vertical, B. But if we hit B and K, we get the full ritual. Which hit the enemy, and if you hit on counter, which the AI is just standing here, so it's not going to do it. But I believe on counter, that will launch. You can send people into the sky with the power of a pelvic thrust, which is hilarious. And so the basic name of the game with Voldo is catching the opponent off guard, being unpredictable, and keeping the enemy guessing as far as what you're going to do, because his moveset is so weird and hard to predict that it tends to throw a lot of people when they fight him for the first time. The way he moves and the different stances look very unusual, and you have no idea what he's going to do out of them in a lot of cases. And so if you think about some combos, I'll just kind of mess around a little bit and explain how some of the stuff works. Oh, wow. Another thing I didn't show off. Throws. We had guard, which is our 4th input. We have 3 attacks and guard. Guard has a dedicated button in this game. It's not like most two-dimensional fighters where you have to hold back to block. Kind of like Mortal Kombat, there's a block button in Soul Calibur. And it's kind of important because in order to go to a crouch state on its own, you go down plus block. It puts you in a crouch state. But block plus an attack is throw. And there's an A throw. Just like that. I think they took out B throws? This is the... I forget what that's called too. That's new to this game. That's called Reversal Edge? There used to be a B throw, but now I think it's just A, and then there's a throw for the direction the opponent's facing as well. There's side throws and there's back throws. And the animation and how they behave changes based on what direction you're throwing the enemy from, which is kind of fun. That's the back throw. That weird sort of winding around the opponent's feet is side throw, I believe. But another thing Voldo does, which is pretty great for psychological warfare, he can throw out of Kali Ultra Rush, which is pretty wacky. If you throw an input before he finishes that crawling animation, you get this. Leaps up and he bites you in the face. I don't think there's... No, I think they got rid of the other one because of that. He had another one that he could do where he flips around and then runs you over, and it puts him into Mantis Crawl by default. But it doesn't have that anymore in that capacity, unless they put it on kick. No. I'll kind of demonstrate a little bit of the flow for Voldo. Again, we could be here all day talking about moves, but how everything chains together is pretty interesting with this character. And again, very hard to predict because all the different ways he spins around, all different mobility options. Used to be able to loop his Mantis Crawl and kick, but I think they changed the way that works. Because kick is this roll now, which can be done infinitely. It moves forward, hits the opponent in mid, but he can be hit out of this really, really easily. There's no block state for this. Oh, that held? No. It's rising? Oh, that's rising. Alright. What we can do is we can move on to another character. what I'll do going forward, since I spent a lot of time talking about the basic navigation of movement, how the different movement options change, attack properties, and the sort of stances and everything. I'm not going to do that for another character. Instead, what I'll do is just sort of talk about how they play and their main gimmicks. That'll be a little bit more fast and streamlined. How do you do supers? Oh, is it all 4? Nope, all 3. The yellow bars around where the timer would be in the middle of the top of the screen, those fill up as the game goes on, and the meter is consumed for certain special abilities, kind of like EX moves in a way, but I think it's on infinite because we're in training. But if you hit all 3 attack buttons, you get a super, and each character has their own super, which behaves differently, and that's only been in Soul Calibur for a couple games now. I think this might be the second or third game where there's dedicated super moves. I think they're called critical edges. But Voldo's one's pretty fun. Hits the enemy, uses the pelvic thrust of doom, gets him out of the air. Pretty unsafe on block. If you miss with that opening thing, then you're wide open. And it's got pretty close range. Right around him. So if the enemy's far away, don't throw that. Well, what we can do is we'll check out somebody different. Let's go with where's Siegfried? Oh, he's up there. So this is probably my secondary character in Soul Calibur VI.
Let's do this.
One of the poster characters for the entire game and series.
Unknown soul.
Let's take a look at how Siegfried plays.
Fight.
Compared to Voldo, Siegfried's a little bit slower. His ground speed is a little bit slower, being kind of more heavy, medium to heavy character. But unlike Voldo, his moveset is very different in speed because he's using a giant Zweihänder, massive sort of greatsword. Iconic says, I return and see not guts. Hey now, Siegfried's had a really rough life. He's finally a good guy again. Right away we can see, from horizontal to vertical, Siegfried's attacks are heavier and slower. They're not absurdly slow, but compared to Voldo, who hits really quickly, you have to be pretty deliberate with Siegfried, because if you whiff, a lot of his attacks can be punished pretty quickly. But his stances, primarily, let's see, I haven't played this character in forever. His stances change which way he's holding his sword, and usually it's by transitioning out of moves. So the easiest way to demonstrate that would be if I hold A for horizontal, that he turns and he's holding the sword offhanded. So it changes his movement. Now he's sort of inching around because he's in this stance, which I forget the name of it. But the moves he does out of it are now different because he's changed, sort of like the sword grip. And this is the same stance, but facing the opposite direction. And in the past games, it was all tied to... Okay, I guess it is BK. Alright. So he has a low stance, which has a guard impact point on it. Sourlad said, looks like a cross of Guts and Belmont. Yeah, Siegfried's design has changed over the games, but he's always been sort of a knight. A heavily armored knight. I like his fancy scarf. So if we go into standing BK, it's this low stance. Out of this, we hit horizontal. We get this sort of low sweeping attack, which will hit the opponent in the ankles.
Ready?
We can hit kick, which pushes the sword forward like a battering ram. Moves pretty quickly. Horizontal or vertical gives us a massive sort of golf swing that launches the enemy. And then, like we saw with Voldo, certain attacks, like this is up or down plus A. There's a back or forward. That put him into the low stance on its own. Forward, forward. Forward, forward. It's a big wind up. That, I believe, is considered a guard crush attack. And then after that big horizontal sweep, if you hold A, then he ends up in that low stance. And then you can follow up with anything that comes out of that. Let's see. Up BK puts him into this stance, which is sort of like a held behind the head stance. He's got a couple of follow-ups that come out of that. And so some combo chains I remember from Siegfried. Yeah, that's one. Going for launcher, which is diagonal forward, vertical. And the kick gives that really quick knee, which follows up. Iconic says, been a bit since I played. I think only Siegfried has these stances and Nightmare doesn't. Nightmare's stances are different. Because they used to be one character, when canonically they split them apart. Because Siegfried was basically a knight who got possessed by the antagonistic force of Soul Edge, the big evil looking sword. He became Nightmare and was Nightmare for a couple games, and then he got better and they split him apart. Soul Calibur VI is a reboot. It goes all the way back to the very beginning of the story and it sort of retells it a little bit. And so the characters are separate in this. Like, we can look at Nightmare in a bit too. I do play that character some. But they used to have a singular moveset, and they kind of split them apart and built them up separately once the characters were separate. That's unblockable. That's right. Forward, vertical is a sort of spinning overhead, which moves him slightly up or down, so this can actually evade. If the enemy is coming at you with a vertical attack, you can get around it slightly by doing that sort of turning slash. But if you miss, it's pretty unsafe. Just throws. Sarlat said, I also finished Cyberpunk Edge Runner, and man, I got the feels. I have not seen Edge Runner, so I don't want to hear any spoilers. I might watch that eventually. But I've heard it's good. Gonk says nice, but don't buy the game. There's a DLC coming out for the original Cyberpunk 2077. I saw that on the Game Awards last night. Idris Elba is going to be voicing one of the main characters. Gonk says, can't believe the show sold more copies than the game. That is pretty funny. Just the animation and art style looked really cool in that game. Sorry, lads, at 10 episodes. Just hope you avoid any spoilers from YouTube Shorts. Yeah, I don't have anybody on my feed that's actively talking about that. That's one thing that's always at risk, because people like spoiling things or talking about it. That's why I watch Chainsaw Man the day the episodes come out, or maybe one day later if I'm too busy. Because everyone is talking about it, and I do not want to get spoiled. I think after this season is done for Chainsaw Man, I'm going to read it. I'm going to read the manga, and then I don't have to worry about spoilers. So anyway, without spending too much time just on the moveset alone, Siegfried is fun because despite him being a not super quick on his feet character, if you know how everything sort of flows together with his different sword stances, he is surprisingly fast. I would not consider him like a slow, heavy character, kind of medium. But he's fun. Played a lot of Siegfried. Again, my muscle memory moveset probably is closest to his Soul Calibur III moveset. That's the one I remember playing the most, I think. But we can move on. I'll show off Nightmare next. We'll spend just a minute looking at Nightmare.
Welcome to the stage of history retold. Nightmare.
Sacrifice your soul to me.
Unknown soul.
Iconic says, yeah, when he catches you slipping, it's a strong catch. Yeah, that's what's kind of fun about the way Siegfried plays. He just needs an opening, and then when he gets going, he can really run all over you with the ability to chain normals together. I think what I'll do, because I can do this stuff to a dummy all day, but to illustrate a lot of these characters, I'll probably just do AI matches for now and show what things actually look like in application and how the game moves normally when it's not training mode. So Nightmare's a big monster man in blue armor. He is basically the embodiment of Soul Edge, detached from Siegfried. And Soul Edge is the big sword you can see in his offhand. So for Nightmare, he does have a low stance, but the moves that come out of it are very different. This is just BK. It puts him in a crouch state. B is this really quick thrust that puts him into the holding the sword behind the head state, kind of like Siegfried. But his regular moves don't change his sword grip quite like Siegfried does. They do a little bit, and they spin to his offhand, kind of like this. But their flow is very different. Nightmare's faster. He is very aggressive and gets right in your face based on pure speed. In Soul Calibur 2 Nightmare Siegfried, there were wide swings that got so many ring outs. Oh yeah. I remember that. Having learned Nightmare in Soul Calibur 2 first when I started playing this series way back in the day. Getting people near the edge and doing like a sweeping horizontal to knock them right out is a good way to get someone yelling at you in the arcades. So in addition to a couple different grip switches for Nightmare, another thing that sets him apart from Siegfried is he has a movement stance I don't remember what it's called. I'm not going to bother looking it up. But it's quarter circle forward and puts him into a lunge. And this lunge has things that can be comboed out of it. And a couple of his moves go into it as well. If he does diagonal, vertical, and you hold the button, you get the lunge. And so you can follow up. And combo people just by getting that movement state, in addition just to Hadoken motion. That series of switches is pretty much like Siegfried's, but the moves that come out are a lot different. And so you can't read him the same way. If you see different stances switching around, which these are just up, down, back, or neutral, you can't expect moves to come out like Siegfried's because they're different. Which is pretty fun. And you can cancel, I think. Maybe not. I think there's a slight animation cancel, but you can't cancel out of every move. Like, I'm trying to do horizontals, canceling that lunge. You can't just do it infinitely. I think it depends on the move. Yeah, if a more aggressive character in Siegfried's what you're looking for, Nightmare is a good choice. One of my good friends that I play a lot of fighting games with, he mains Nightmare in this game, and his Nightmare against my Siegfried was kind of a battle of who's going to put an opening first, because he's pressing a more aggressive attack and I'm trying to skirt around and wait for an opening to get going. Oh, I should be showing off the supers. Sorry, we didn't do Siegfried's. Super for Nightmare. He gets a Demon Horse and puts him into a buff state too, but I don't remember what it does. I think that changes the way some moves come out for a brief amount of time, then it goes away. Let me know if I need to tweak the volume, since I haven't streamed this game before. If it's too loud, you can't hear what I'm saying, let me know. Soul Calibur does have a really awesome soundtrack, but you also need to be able to hear what I'm saying. Alright, good on audio? Okay, just making sure. Nightmare and Siegfried both, I believe, have a crouching throw stance, which is interesting. If you hit guard plus A while crouching, you grab opponents on their feet and flip them head over heels, which is fun. I think that was called Flapjack in other games. I don't remember what it's called here. Okay, moving on.
Welcome to the stage of history retold.
It's been so long since I played Soul Calibur. I'm thinking about which characters I main in order. I'd definitely go Voldo, then Siegfried. Third is kind of tough because in the older games, going back to Soul Calibur 2, it definitely would have been Cassandra third. And she's really fun in this game. She was one, I think, the first or second DLC character. We'll take a look at Cass.
Cassandra.
Her moveset's a little bit different in this game compared to what I remember in 2. She was kind of a stand-in for her sister, Sophidia, because Sophidia wasn't into.
Unknown soul.
But her moveset's not the same.
Fight.
So Cassandra is much faster than the other characters. She's probably the fastest one we've seen yet, just based on move speed and attack speed. Iconic says Cassandra's good fun. Yeah, I remember her moveset too. It's been so long. It gave her that interesting buff state with her sword and shield. But for a while, people kind of considered her like a clone of Sophidia because she's basically replaced her in one game and they were both in a lot of the other ones. But I think Cassandra plays a bit more of a rushdown heavy game. To me, she's faster, and I kind of like her faster moveset. Her sister's fun too. I play both of them, but I like the moveset of Cassandra a little bit more. Iconic says, I remember her ult in 4 where she legit sat on your face. The horny was real. They didn't put that in here. I thought it was a throw. Maybe not. Her super doesn't look like that in this one, but I do remember that too. Everyone said, if I'm gonna lose a match, at least I get hit by Cassandra's super. She was not in 5, I don't think, because the twins were in 5. But yeah, her super, I don't know what it does. It's a bunch of hits. Yeah, there you go.
Did I overdo it?
And being a faster character, a lot of Cassandra's moves involve moving around the opponent to get in position, and then really quick hits with her sword and shield. This back AB one is an actual projectile. She does have a butt attack. This is just back kick. Comes out pretty fast. That hits high. Hits high, hard knockdown. And I see we got a stretch from Sour Lad. And the two Greek sisters have the same stance. I think Sophidia's is called Angel Step. Oh, what's Cassandra's called? I don't remember. Yep, Angel Step. I forgot there's a demo feature, which I really like in Soul Calibur. I wish all fighting games did this. It shows you what the move's supposed to look like. But, like the one we saw from Nightmare, quarter circle forward puts her into this rush. And I believe that burst is a parry window when she's moving forward. We haven't seen guard impacts, but this is a staple of the series that was absent for a bit, and they brought it back. If you hit an attack of the appropriate height with forward guard, it parries the enemy and puts him into an off-balance state. But in Angel Step, you can do different moves out of it. Like this sort of rising slash, that's horizontal. Vertical, gives a shield bash, real quick shield bash. Kick is an over-the-top drop kick. she's had that throw for several games. I don't remember what the buff state does. It changes something with her moves, but I can't remember what it is. And she goes in that buff state from several different moves as a follow-up. That's down B twice. Puts her into a low state. And a follow-up for stagger. Okay. This is up or down and AB. Puts her into that buff state at the end. And this is AK. I haven't done a lot of moves that use AK specifically, but that puts her into that buff state just on its own. Yeah, I guess you can do it forever. Oh, I haven't shown off jumping. Whoops. So, vertical height is not a super big thing in Soul Calibur. A lot of your movement is in 3 dimensions, but you can also move in the Z-axis technically. If you hit up and guard, jump. And it's more of a hop, but you can use it to get out of the way of things. And certain characters have moves that come out of jump, but I don't really use it that much. I'll use blocks or impacts a lot more than I use the actual jump button. Alright. Let's go and do some matches, and I'll kind of walk through different members of the cast and explain how they work, rather than just show off the moves by themselves. I think that'll be more interesting. We'll go normal for now to rust off.
Welcome to the stage of history retold.
There's a pretty diverse cast in 6. There's majority of all the characters who've shown up, with the exception of maybe a handful. The core cast that's been across all the different games are in this one, which is kind of neat. We saw the return of Zasalamel, who was gone since 4, I want to say. We had Setsuka, who was in 3 and 4 and not 5. She's pretty fun. I played a guy in school who was ridiculous with this character. She's pretty fun. There's a bunch of crossover characters, special guest characters as well, which I haven't shown off. We have Geralt from The Witcher. We already saw Halmadur from Samsho. We've got 2B from Nier, which I don't think anyone really saw that coming. Of course, the other mainstays like Ivy, aka Miss Subtlety when it comes to her outfit. This outfit of hers, while still being pretty horny, is not nearly as horny as some of her other ones. I think it's 4 is the one I was thinking of. 4 or 5. 4 or 5. One of those has one of the most ridiculous outfits for Ivy. It's like a real cut off top like that, but had like just 2 thin straps holding the middle of it together. Some ridiculous. And Ivy has changed moveset wise in every game, making it very difficult to play her as a main. I will look at her too, see if I can remember some of the fun stuff she does, but I think Soul Calibur 2 Ivy was probably my favorite. Here's her Canonical Father, Cervantes, Undead Pirate. We have Tira, who was introduced in 3, and she was absent from 5, I want to say. Iconic says her alt in 2 is my favorite costume. Who, Ivy's? Is that the one that's the like the ship captain's coat? Oh, I haven't played 2 in so long, and I don't remember all the alt costumes. Yeah, Ship Ivy. I remember that one. That's a good costume. I really like a lot of Voldo's alt costumes in the games. They don't have alt costumes in this one because you can customize with the character creator. But Voldo always got some really interesting second costumes. His first one always kind of looked like this. This is probably one of the more spiky ones.
Voldo.
We'll go Voldo first. Aswell is like the main villain of this game. He's kind of interesting. I should check out Huang at some point, who I believe is voiced by ProZD, which is pretty cool. Other members, of course, we got Taki, who's, I think she's proportioned a little more normally in this game. Normally she's a lot more top heavy with her skin tight bodysuit they totally had in ancient Japan. Kong says his third alt in 2 is the most spiky. I think Voldo's costume in this one is the only one that has the spike nips. I could be wrong. Let's see. Talim, who was absent for a few games. She was introduced in 2, I want to say. She's pretty fun. Very fast in your face. Gilik has been around for the majority of the games. Yoshimitsu, one of the crossover characters who shows up in Tekken. Very unusual, bizarre character too. Hilda, who she was not in 5, I want to say. I think she was introduced in 4. I don't think she was in 3. She's a cool character. I cannot play her at all. Her moveset is all based around perfect timing inputs and all sorts of stuff, but she's pretty neat. She uses a short sword and a spear. And we have Xianghua, probably my biggest rival in Soul Calibur, a real good buddy of mine from school. This is his main character, and he is super obnoxious with her because he knows her moveset extremely well. And the main match was always Voldo versus Xianghua until the wee hours of the morning. But she's a fast, kind of rapid attack character with her sword. Very quick. And Maxi, Mr. Can't Stop, Won't Stop, the nunchucks. Also very fast. If you don't know his chains too well, he will basically do what he wants and you will lose control of the character. Here's Sophidia, Cassandra's older sister. Very similar moveset. I think a little more focused on damage versus speed. Cassandra always felt faster to me, but I could be wrong. Oh, let's get Mitsurugi. Samurai Man. Also pretty heavily based around offense, getting in your face. He's a pretty fun character. I played a lot of Mitsu. And let's see, you got Astaroth, the big heavy. He's a maul or like a warhammer. Big slow character, good throws and grapples, and can lay on the damage if you know what you're doing. And Amy, Raphael's adopted daughter, is a fencer type character. I like her moveset better than Raph. Raph is, where is he? Grab his costume. Oh, he's down here. Raphael, Mr. Forward B all day long. He's a French fencer. Prepared to get poked in the face a lot. Iconic says, Raph, my boy, all the pokes. Forward B. That's all you need to know for Raph. He's got some interesting counters and stances and whatnot.
Unknown soul.
But I like Amy's kind of dodge and evade style a little bit more than Raph's. Never stop poking. That's right. Just forward. Beep, 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 beep.
Warriors' spirits are forged.
Very well. A battle it shall be.
Battle 1. Fight.
Your armor's broken though. Okay, I'll try and show off some more of the movement and how a lot of the core mechanics of Soul Calibur involve getting into position or getting away from attacks. You're not just moving on one plane, you're moving on essentially fully three-dimensional with the 8-way run.
Battle 3. Fight.
That move. Get out of here. Matches are set to first to 3 by default. That's fine. We can leave it for now. Ovo though, you lovable weirdo, you.
Battle 1. Fight.
Volto's also got an auto dodge. I think it's called Super Freak. It's AK. It'll dodge one hit, which is kind of interesting, but if you are fighting a fast character, it's not really going to get you out of trouble if they do a bunch of hits at once.
Battle 3. Fight.
Also worth mentioning that Volto doesn't speak. He just sort of grunts and hisses. Because of course. Alright, we'll do one more and then we'll switch characters.
Very well. A battle it shall be.
Battle 1. Fight.
The comic says he's a man of no words. That is true. He's very affectionate. Let's see all the free hugs he gives out.
Battle 2. Fight.
See? Oh, broke my guard. Or my throat. That particular state, again, I forget what it's called, because it's new to this game. But when you go into that state, you're basically playing rock, paper, scissors, and choosing an input, and hoping the enemy doesn't choose an input that counters what you're doing. It's interesting, but it does sort of change the flow of the game a little. Oh. Out of here.
Claim victory and bask in the glory.
Maybe we could turn the AI up to hard.
Welcome to the stage of history retold.
Alright. Siegfried next.
Siegfried,
Let's do this.
unknown soul.
Oh, I need to go all the way back out to the main screen. Alright, let me do that. Let's make the AI a little bit harder.
You battle one. Fight.
And we'll change it to best of 3. Or first to 2, best of 3. I'll do it that way.
Welcome to the stage of history retold. Siegfried,
Let's do this.
unknown soul. Blood, flesh, and souls are...
Step aside. I've sinned enough already.
I'm not afraid anymore.
Battle.
Let's tell him.
Fight.
High speed character. Oh, AI's not falling for it.
Stand aside. Battle.
Get me off the ground.
Fight.
This is a tough matchup for Siegfried. You really have to press momentum. Unless you want to get outpaced and combo to death.
Let's do this.
Here's a super, since we didn't see it before.
Power of my sword.
Big swing.
I'd hoped I wouldn't have to rely on this strength.
Stand.
Such an edgy boy.
Fight.
Oh, I don't recognize that move. That was probably closer than I would have liked.
The battle is over. Show respect for...
Forgive
You know when he enters that charged up state, I think it's back throw? Gives him a unique grab, unique command grab, I think.
Blood, flesh, and...
Step aside. I've sinned in
I'm not afraid anymore.
battle one. Fight.
Oh, it's just A, B maybe? that wasn't a throw input. Forward A, B, okay.
I'll do my best.
Fight! Ready?
Right in the toes. You kind of see how Siegfried
The battle is over.
piles of damage on when he gets going. But he kind of has to do against fast characters because if he gets interrupted all the time, he'll never hit anybody.
Step aside.
I'm not.
Battle 1. Fight!
Ah, it's close.
Battle
I'll
2.
do my best.
Fight!
Nope, that's not what I wanted. I wanted the other one. Oh, it's an explosion. That's right. When he enters that charge up state, that grab becomes a, I think, a burst, kind of like Nightmare's got. Okay. Moving on.
Welcome to the stage of history retold. Cassandra.
Oh, that's a cool color
Prepare to
palette.
be amazed.
Evil Cassandra.
Unknown soul.
I made some interesting original characters in the creator. It's too bad they're not on this save file. They added a whole bunch of equipment and gear pieces since then too. Maybe before the next time I do this on stream, I'll make some custom characters.
I hunger for your soul.
I really hate this kind of thing.
Oh hey, it's the rep from some show. That's kind of cool. Even has the round opening in Japanese, just like the games.
Break apart.
That was close. Astaroth is big, and he is slow, probably slowest in the game, but he still can move. As long as you know what you're doing. And he's got a lot of range. I won that trade. His throws do a ton of damage. Yeah, case in point. Oh, he's gonna perfect me? No, it's not gonna perfect me. Alright, you throw a super at me? Oh, well, I wonder if she only gets all the multiple hits if she's in a buff state when she throws that. Man, I think I'd lose that. Better. Oh, nope, that's not going to impact well. Iconic says, bless the Samsho ref who's secretly a boss in one of the games for being here with Halmadur. Yeah, that was a really cool crossover. I still haven't played Samsho. I don't know if they're still doing more content and characters for that one. Uh-oh.
Stop making noise. Still moaning?
Ow. Ah, throw. Going for throw. Oh, it's...
Squirm, you filthy maggot.
0 for 2 against Astaroth? Oh, okay. It is getting rollback? That's good. I want this game to get rollback. It would make it so much easier to play online with people. If Bandai Namco can put rollback in fighters, I don't see why they couldn't do it for this game. And it's in Tekken, isn't it? Does Tekken have rollback? Ooh. I am having a real tough time against Astaroth. I'm gonna assume the new Tekken will have rollback by default, but I thought they were adding it to the current 1.7. He just completely ate my super. Ah. Oh, wow. I remember that move.
Power is everything.
On Cassandra.
Useless. Break apart.
It's been so long since I played Soul Calibur 6. I don't know if it's just because it's been that long, but the game feels faster to me. I have no idea what they added via updates and what they changed. I should have dodged that. The game pace feels a bit faster to me. Could be my imagination. Uh-oh.
Stop making that noise! Still moaning?
He's gonna go for buff state into super. Oh.
What's wrong? Give up already?
I
いざ尋常に勝負
There's guard impact. There we go. Ooh, ground throw. That's another thing Astaroth does. Got a lot of grapple type moves. Finally! Alright, let's see if we can get one more.
now that's what I call a critical hit.
It's like 1 to 5. Good lord, it's kind of embarrassing.
I
いざ尋常に勝負
Does that hurt?
I think he's gonna be getting the first hit.
Good luck. You pulled away.
There we go. Alright, let's move on.
good luck. Now that's what I call a critical hit.
That might lead against the AI. Who's next?
Welcome to the stage of history retold.
I could do Ivy. I don't even remember a lot of her moveset. Ooh. Who's kind of cool.
Punishment time.
Unknown soul.
Oh, Ivy.
When souls collide.
I'm going to have fun with you.
Size isn't everything.
Song Mina.
Battle 1 Fight
Oh, I forgot to mention her. Yeah, she's another polearm user. Alright. Ivy's weapon is a snake sword. It's a blade that can extend into a chain whip. So her strategy all revolves around changing the different states with the whip, but they make it so different in every game. It's possible to remember unless you just play nothing but this character. She's fun. This is gonna probably take a minute.
Discipline.
Fight
That pops up the enemy's feet. That is a unblockable split kick. How do you do the grab out of the air? Probably not a good idea to try and figure out a moveset against a hard AI, but we'll make it work.
I'm not jealous. Not one bit.
I thought it was up diagonal BK for the
Battle 1. Fight.
snare out of the air. Nope, that does the arcing one. Oh yeah, that's right. That puts her into that coiled state with the whip wrapped around her. That's another stance. Okay, that's a stance, I think. Iconic says, "Oh, Ivy, one of gaming's earliest Nami Mommies." I think she still has the step on me move. It used to be kicked down, but I think it's different now because that input doesn't work. Like I said, I really like her moveset in 2. I had a pretty decent Ivy in 2. I'm gonna die. And they changed it in 3. They changed it in 4. They changed it in 5. And they changed it in 6. Oh, is it down diagonal down back?
I'm not jealous. Not one bit.
Why would you be jealous, Song Nina?
Battle 1. Fight.
There it is, down diagonal back. Hit off the ground. They call that the tier 3 sub. I looked that move up. That's gonna bug me. Serpent's Embrace. No, it's not that one. Mistress's Justice. No. It's under throws? I don't think it's under throws. She has the most complicated throw inputs in the game. The one that everyone probably remembers is Summon Suffering. This is the one, I think it's the one that launches you in the air and hits you with all the bits of the sword. It's either that one or Calamity Symphony. But you got to do that into a throw input. Iconic says tier 3 sub implies the existence of tier 3 Dom. There you go. Dual button? Razor's Bite. Diagonal back AB. Hailstorm. Heal Explosion is that big unblockable split kick move. Oh, it's not Viper Tail.
It's over for you.
Might have to go into the lab with Ivy. Such a technically complex character. Okay, I remember that move. Remember that move. These are all AB inputs. Uh-oh.
Prove to you.
Oh, there's the X Factor state too. I forgot you could do that in this game. I don't remember how.
Victory and bask.
Might be all
I'm not
4
jealous,
buttons.
Not one bit.
All right, let's go. Let's go in the lab with Ivy for a sec.
Welcome to the stage of history retold. Ivy,
Punishment time.
unknown soul.
I don't know if it's called Soul Charge or what, but you can burn meter to go into like a amp state. I think you get, I don't know if you get regen. Alright, let's take a look at the moves. Akong says, I really got to figure out this game sometime. Hey man, if you ever want to spar, let me know. I know we're on the same coast, so I imagine the connection wouldn't be too bad. Okay, there's that. Did that. Oop. That goes unblockable if you hold it, and then it pops them up, but it takes so long. It takes so long to get people in the air. Okay, metal fencer. That's a good one. Hits him right in the toes. Okay, that one. Oh, I forgot about that one. That's a standing DK? Or... oh, away, facing the enemy, yeah.
It's over.
Heal explosion.
What a killjoy. What a
Taunt?
killjoy.
Taunt. Does everybody have a taunt? Alright. I guess it's going to be under specials. Here's her coiled stance. Serpent's Embrace. Oh, I remember that move. Okay. Ah, that one. Perfect input gets more hits and a follow-up. Okay, it's not out of Serpent's Embrace. It's a standard move. Nope, it's not under special moves. Lethal hits. These are different. Okay, reversal edge is what that special rock paper scissors state is called. That's right. We can try the crazy throw.
Enslave.
That's it. Diagonal. Diagonal forward. Forward, down, down. Yeah, that's a really weird input. These are just the regular throws. Alright, I'm just going to show what it looks like because I don't want to sit here trying to do that input. Summon Suffering. Pretty high damage throw if you can get it to actually come out. Calamity Symphony is the other one. You really want to style summon in a match. Pull that off. It's pretty demoralizing. Now that move is in here somewhere, but that's okay. I was hoping it'd be an easy one to find, then we could show it off. Unless they took it out, which I highly doubt. Alright, well. I'll have to put a pin in that. Oh, we could do arcade mode. That'll probably be a better way to show off the different characters. Who do you want to see next? Let's see. Let's run through it, Volo. I think we get like a minor story. Oh, Raph? Alright. We'll do Raph. Raph or Amy? We'll start with Raph. This is a character I don't know too well. Though, we'll see if forward B gets me through the entire arcade mode. I like his outfit in this. It's kind of more of a throwback to his Soul Calibur II costume. In 5, he was like a vampire.
Warriors cross sword quickly now.
Kind of like Vampire Hunter D.
Battle 1. Fight.
It's forward B is what that looks like. Oh, you bum. Oh, I should have kept the replay. Let's see that again. Bad enough to knock off his shirt. Okay, Raph does have stances and a parry state, but I don't remember how exactly they work.
It's over.
Lost his shoes. Ah, come on.
Stand. Fight to your last breath.
They're the ring outs that we were talking about earlier. Oh, it's first to 3. Right. Kong says in Post 2 he became infected with evil. Yeah, I remember that. I love how his story Post 2 is trying to turn the whole world evil so he and Amy would no longer stand out. Yeah, I remember that. But again, this is a reboot, so I can't remember what they canonically established for him and Amy. Their stories are still linked, but I honestly don't remember.
It's over.
Oh, maybe we can look at the super.
Try to have some dignity.
Well,
With
yeah,
my
that's,
blade, I shall forge a new world.
I'm sure you will, buddy.
Victory will not come easily. It must be seized.
Icon says, like, am I so out of touch? No, it's children who are wrong. So boomer mentality with vampires. Uh-oh. Impact me, will you? Uh-oh. Ah, come on, I guessed wrong. That would have been a good comeback, too. Alright.
Warriors quickly.
Fair enough, Mr. Creepy Contortionist Man.
Battle 1. Fight.
Creepy blind Contortionist Man? I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. Voldo's also blind, he can't see.
Now, dance.
I guess it might be obvious that he can't see because he's got spikes over his eyes, but canonically, yeah, he's blind.
Battle 2. Fight.
Get out of here. Iconic says, can he not, or does he choose not? I don't remember. So I remember in the main story before the reboot, he was under the employment of this wealthy merchant guy, and he was like his hired assassin, and he guarded this area called the Money Pit, which is where his master stored all of his treasure. And Voldo was the guardian, but then the master died, and he just got left there. And he was like in the darkness and lost his sight over time, I believe. And like developed the ability to sense things because he was basically just living alone in a cave for like 20 years. Get ringed out, sucker. But yeah, interesting lore for Voldo. Such a unique character. Probably one of the most unique in fighting games. Oh boy, mirror match.
The win.
I think that's why I really liked Zappa in Guilty Gear. He didn't really play like Voldo, but his weird, unorthodox style kind of reminded me of like a Voldo type. Here's hoping they bring him back. Zappa or ABBA for Stride. That's what I'd like to see. Konak says, so he still said you make a good pet for Amy, so he's evil but not a vampire? He's not a vampire, because I think the whole reason that happened in the other games is because he got corrupted by Soul Edge. So I think they're, like, she's supposed to be his adopted daughter or something. I don't know, I didn't play Raph's story in this game. So I think they're sort of taking the idea of where his character went, but they're introducing her earlier. Zappa would be cool in 3D graphics. Yeah, I think all his summons, and the different evil spirits, I think would be really neat in the Stride engine. I think the ghost girl who possesses him, her name's Esco, I think, like a reference to the ring. There you go. Kick you in the shins.
Play.
My swordplay is fearless.
Iconic says he was wanted for crimes, and Amy was a homeless child who chose not to give away his location, so he adopted
Blood,
her.
flesh,
I remember
and
that.
souls
That was in
are
a
offered to the
cutscene
gods
in.
amidst deathly chants.
Is that in 2 or 3? Because I think they introduced her as being there in the first game, in 2, but she's not an actual character till 3. Like, she's in a cutscene, I think. This was in 3. Two's opening. Okay, yeah, he's on the run from like the authorities, and she like points him down like an alley in the wrong direction or something. I remember that. Man, 2 is a good game.
Battle 2. Fight.
I really enjoyed 3 too. 'Cause 3 had that branching story with multiple endings, I think. Yes. Nope. Alright, just gonna throw reversal edges all day, huh? Guard broken.
Give me strength. Amy.
Oh. Well, that's the buff state. Is it back? That might be back in all 3 attack buttons. I think that's what I did there.
Victory will not come
Iconic says, and then he and Amy were corrupted by Soul Edge, which then led to them trying to corrupt the world. I believe it became Nightmare for a game temporarily. Do you remember Night Terror? I think Night Terror was the secret boss in 3, I want to say. I remember that fight was stupid difficult. Around the same time, I remember watching my friend play Tekken. Remember which one it was, 4 or 5? One that has Jinpachi, and it's like Night Terror and Jinpachi, the 2 most ridiculous final bosses.
Playing the
My swordplay is fearless.
It says, yep, can't forget him. Yeah, my man. It took me so long to beat Night Terror in the story mode. It's really cool design, but my god, you're talking about cheap final bosses. And he had Abyss. Abyss was 4?
a history of conflict.
I think it was 4.
Quickly now. Amy awaits me. Come on. Let's do this.
Battle 1. Fight.
Geralt. Popular series The Witcher. Oh, Abyss was 3? That was like the boss form for Zasallo, right? Who's the end final boss of 4? I haven't played 4 in over 10 years. Oh. Algol. Okay, that's right. I remember that guy.
Victory goes to the last.
Who's the boss in
one
5?
standing.
I really did not like the story in 5. Gameplay-wise, it was alright. But I didn't like the story and the fact that they replaced all the characters with their kids. And, like, Sophidia's twins, Pyrrha and Patroklos, were not very compelling the way they were written. The whole story was a mess. Gameplay-wise, 5 was fine, but I think the reception is why they rebooted it with 6. I think it was Corrupted Pyrrha was technically the boss of 5. That was also really disappointing.
Try to have some dignity. That's how you treat guests.
Nope. Not sure if 5 had a proper boss. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Battle 3.
It's a long time ago. I played 5 on the, I think, 360? Remember all of the wacky guest characters they had in the different games? In 2, they had, like, Heihachi on the PS2, They had Spawn on Xbox and they had Link in GameCube. Then I don't think, were there guest characters in 3? There might not have been any in 3. But 4 was the Star Wars characters, I think. Hey, first time chat from Arcadian? Is that how you say your name? Arcadian? Raphael's the tech trap master of Soul Calibur VI. He's all about momentum. I can't play Raph at all. This was a request from chat to play through arcade mode with him. I remember him being really parry focused for at least a couple games. But I definitely see the thing with momentum. Half circles 4. Nope, guess wrong. Half circle 4. Any input? Oh, that's weird. Oh, that move used to be forward beat, isn't it? Oh, right out of the air. I'm gonna die. Yep. Oh yeah, that's right. I remember you saying iconic that you remain Raph.
Claim victory and bask in.
Well, I'll try and not disappoint you.
Quickly now. Come on. Battle 1. Fight.
Oh, that's right. He does have that parry state at the end of some of his moves. Back BK.
Victory will not come easily. It must be seized.
Yeah, I know his mix-up game is pretty good because of the follow-ups. I just don't know the character at all. So what happens when I end up playing a character that I don't know is I tend to play them very basically, using like repositioning and just trying to get around attacks until I figure out things that work. Come on, stop doing that. I'm gonna assume, Arcadian, that you know this game pretty well because you definitely know what you're talking about. And I'm sorry if this is your main. Like I told Iconic. I asked chat to recommend someone to play through arcade mode and figure it out. And that's how we got here. This is, what, stage 3? Arcadian says, I'm the only Aswell main on keyboard left on PC. Play this game with keyboard? That's got to be difficult. Impressive, if so.
Quickly. Battle 1. Fight.
Out of here. Ah, I see. Arcadian says, I did it after I broke my old DualShock 3. Wow, that's impressive. I can't imagine playing fighting games on the keyboard. I play most of mine on the stick. This is actually a Soul Calibur 6 fighting stick for PS4. I don't know if, I think my old Xbox 360 one from 4 or 5 works, but I wanted to get a new stick, so I got this one when this game came out. Out here. Hey man, whatever hardware you can make work for you is perfectly legit. I started playing Soul Calibur on a controller, and then I got into fight sticks for most of the fighting games I play. Uh-oh. Aw, come on. And so usually I will learn new games on a fight stick. Technically the only game that I liked playing better on controller was Mortal Kombat. On MKX and MK11. For whatever reason I like playing those on controller a little bit more. But everything else I tend to play on fight stick. Ooh, that can impact, huh? Oh, don't ring me out. I don't think that's gonna kill. Out here. It's a tough fight. Taki.
I'll fight you.
Battle 1. Fight!
Come.
Iconic asks, now any predictions on a guess for the next hypothetical game? Dude, if we get Soul Calibur 7, it will be a miracle. Even this game surprised everyone when it came out because the series was buried after 5. And then they announced that this was coming out, and I couldn't believe it. But in the event they do make another game, as far as guest characters go, I don't know. It's a good question. I have to think about that as we're playing. I want to say like a Fire Emblem character would be possible. Assuming they can get the rights. Yeah. Yeah, Arcadian says if it ever comes out, it'll be well after Tekken 8. Yeah. The Namco Bandai team are definitely going to be focusing on that for now. And Tekken 8, well, I don't play Tekken because I'm not a big fan of how those games play. 8 looks really good. The engine and everything look fantastic. So if they were to make Soul Calibur in that engine, I think it would look really good because, well, this game is probably the most graphically polished of the Soul Calibur games as it came out in current gen. It's not stellar. The visuals are not super high budget. The faces and everything, they look okay, and the outfits look okay. But they can really step it up. The problem is Soul Calibur is such a niche series compared to other fighting games. And the fact that this one made main stage at EVO for, I think, 1 or 2 years was crazy. The EVO Finals, the year it came out when this game was on the main stage, was one of the most highly viewed events of the entire series of tournaments, which is crazy. Nintendo own the rights exclusively to all the Fire Emblem stuff? I guess that's true. You know what's likely? If they did a Soul Calibur game in the next couple years, it'd probably be a Final Fantasy character. Like from 16. They put Noctis in Tekken, right? And the new character from 16, the main guy, uses a sword.
You will do well.
So I'll bet it'd be like an FF character. The HD port of 2 having both Heihachi and Spawn but no Link is funny. Yeah, thanks Nintendo. That's why we can't have nice things.
Ready to fight you.
Battle 1. Fight!
Getting Spawn in the game was pretty wacky though. I definitely didn't see that one coming. I guess it's not too much weirder than having Star Wars characters in a game like this. That's Spawn?
Battle 2. Fight!
Let us begin.
I say you go really wacky with it for guest characters. Give me Bayo in a Soul Calibur game. Oh, I'm gonna die. But technically, Bayo has guest starred in a couple of games already. Obviously Smash. And I don't know if they consider it a fighting game per se, but she was in Anarchy Reigns too. Give me Anarchy Reigns HD Platinum. I'm gonna keep asking for it until you do it. I remember that throw.
Try to have some dignity.
Oh. Just throw it out cold. And sometimes it works.
Still want more?
Oh. No, I gotta ring out.
Don't ring out.
I wanted to sidestep, I jumped instead. That cost me the match.
Victorious.
Iconic says, oh man, imagine Soul Edge, Soul Calibur as gun heals.
Quickly now. Amy.
Yeah, exactly.
I am ready to fight.
Or we have Soul Edge corrupted demon summons. That idea is free, Platinum. Or Bamco.
It's over.
Just dessert.
Yeah, I shouldn't have lost that last one.
Battle 2.
That's what I get for backing up against the edge of the ring. No, it's unblockable.
Here goes. Ready?
Too late.
Oh, wow. Iconic says, since Spawn is a comic book character, take it a bit further than anime manga guest character. Nowadays, given licensing, I don't think that's outside the realm of possibility. You know who should be like a manga guest character, even though like maybe now with the licensing and rights probably wouldn't work, but thematically, Guts. Guts would fit. Siegfried is essentially Guts, but I mean like an actual guest character, but because of the way Berserk is now, I doubt that's likely to ever happen. Or maybe to change the character archetypes, put like first art Casca in On Your Die. Because Casca's pretty cool.
Battle 4. Fight!
Let us begin.
Ichigo from Bleach? Yeah. That would not be high on my list of things that I'd want to see, but you can probably make it work thematically. Get out of here.
The battle is over. Show respect for the fallen.
That Bleach fighting game from the DS is still on the docket to do when I eventually do Fighting Game Month, which I keep saying that. I don't know when it's going to be. Maybe if I have time in January. But I got it to work. I think I told you, Iconic. I got it to work, so it runs. I think it'd be pretty cool to do that with a fight stick, but I don't know if I can get the emulator to map a fight stick.
Castle
We'll see.
Hall, warriors dance in a masquerade
Kid Goku would be
of
funny.
death.
You can have a stick off. I feel it.
This is my big moment.
Battle 1. Fight!
Yeah, you never know. Wow.
How's that?
You'd think I would be prepared for this fight, having done probably thousands of matches against my friend who mains Xianghua, but I do not know this fight with Raph. You want to talk about like the queen of mix-ups? Learning all of the different ways Xianghua can switch her moves up. And it's different in this game. It's different in every game she's appeared in.
Battle 2. Fight!
Just kidding. Redirect. Stab you right in the toes. Into a super. I didn't even know you could do that. Reversal edge into super?
Do you give up?
Well, it's lucky dodge.
Rest in peace.
Ah, there's a mix-up. Iconic says, remember we go old school Inuyasha and Soul Calibur. How would that be rendered in 3DO? I can't see that looking too good. Like, conceptually, yeah, I think that's an interesting idea. But trying to render a character like Inuyasha in an engine like this, I think would look really weird. I don't know. Like, that would be almost a better type of fit for a game like Grand Blue Versus, where it has a kind of like 3D but still anime style. Soul Calibur is more realistic-ish. So I don't know if they could, I don't know, maybe. Stop. Get out of here. Man, that fight as soon as possible.
The battle.
You will do well to remember me.
Alright, we're learning. I feel like I am very slowly learning how to not suck with Raph. Hey, let's grow. Mr. Edgy Dual Blade Boy.
Quickly now. Amy awaits me.
My mission is what matters, not you.
Battle.
So much
1.
edge.
Fight!
Become an edge off. Wait, no. Take that back. I like Gro's weapon. I don't know if it's got an official name. It's a dual blade that separates. But he's kind of like a fast rushdown-ish type character. Doesn't really have stances, I don't think. Alright. Ow, the edge. So much edge. Linkin Park intensifies. What is he wearing? It's like stripper overalls.
Claim victory and bask in the glory.
Iconic says, remember that guy who had a stand in SC5 that was funny? Yeah, Zwei.
Congratulations.
This is an interesting character too. Oh, is that it? There's no boss? Alright. Well, we beat arcade mode. Oh, it was on normal. Well, I was on normal. I had that hard of a time with Raph. Let's do one more. Maybe we should play somebody I actually know so I don't embarrass myself. Iconic says Dio in Soul Calibur. Well, you could do that, but everybody in Soul Calibur has a weapon. Dio has a stand, but he doesn't have a weapon. Maybe knives. Just give him a bunch of knives. I need to play that new, or the ported, upgraded version of JoJo All-Star Battle R, or whatever it's called. The world is his weapon. Yeah, he's got a stand, but even Zwei, the guy who had the werewolf stand, he had like a dagger or something, right? He had a blade. I think that's a requirement. If you're going to be in Soul Calibur, you have to have a weapon. And, like, Heihachi had gauntlets. Even though he primarily used his fists. Let's see. Who should we play? Play someone I know. We'll go... Okay, I do know Amy better than Raph. We'll go another fencer character, sure. Yeah, you could do knives. They're technically a weapon, just an infinite amount of knives. If you're gonna go for a JoJo character in Soul Calibur, though, Polnareff would be one of the most obvious choices if you look into Part 3.
The gaze of the ancient gods.
If I die,
He's pretty much just
he will be very
Raph
upset.
with different hair. He's a French
Not afraid
fencer.
anymore.
Battle 1. Fight.
Alright. So Amy's stance is kind of like Raph's, can lead out of some of her moves, but I don't remember what they all are, so I'm going to have to figure it out. She has that lunging and that twirling stance. Remember that. Raph versus Polnareff would be hype. They're essentially the same character, like gameplay-wise.
Good luck.
Battle 3. Fight.
Take this.
Oh, she's got the roses, that's right. She uses those flowers and it puts her into a buff state after she does that enough. I am probably not going to deal with that mechanic unless I figure it out on the fly. Comic says I got it. Speedwagon for Soul Calibur. His weapon is the hat.
On guard.
So you got to think of the in-game reason for why Speedwagon from someone who is from a time period much later. How he ends up in the Soul Calibur universe.
Victory.
Battle
I'll do
4.
my best.
Fight!
Enjoy. Enjoy. Low.
I like that Amy's got an actual lunging stance. You can do it out of summer remove, I just don't remember which one.
For one to gain.
If you had Speedwagon in the game and if Soul Edge possessed a hat, that would just be Eno's hat from Guilty Gear. Yeah, we got Pirate Man.
If I die, he would be very upset.
I gotta do something before I forget. One moment. Right. Icon says Speedwagon and his foundation believes Soul Edge has a connection to the stone mask. Well, the thing is, because it's a different time period than what happens here, 'cause this is like this is before America, right? And where's Speedwagon from? He's British. This is like way earlier than that too. So he'd have to be like magicked here, which they kind of did for the Star Wars characters. There'd have to be some sort of in-game reason why he's in this time period, because this is way before the events in part 2. 1 and 2? Boy.
Battle 2. Fight! Take this!
This is it. That hurt.
Want to see hell?
Oh wow, good evade.
Care to die?
Iconic says, I don't remember the explanation for Star Wars characters. I don't either. It wasn't a strong premise.
Enjoy.
It could have just been, you know, here's Darth Vader and Yoda. They're in the game. I remember Yoda was busted as a guest character in Soul Calibur.
Care to die? Battle 4. Fight!
Middle.
Get ready!
Okay, that's a parry. It's a high parry. High parry when hitting me low is not going to help.
Return to dust!
Right, Ezio was in, was it 4 or 5? I don't remember which one.
Take this.
The battle is over.
I haven't played a lot of those older Soul Calibur games in so long. 5, okay. Well, 5 takes place... Yeah, 5 takes place a little bit later in the story, but... I think they could use technology, MacGuffins, to put a character like Ezio in the story if they really wanted to.
That's fine with me.
Battle 1. Fight!
I will figure out their stances at some point. Yeah, she's got the poking the toes. That's right. I get launched.
Battle 2. Fight!
Just look it up, I guess. Forward dash. Forward A forward. Amaryllis spin. That's the stance I'm thinking of. Forward A forward. There it is.
Victory will not come easily. It must be seized.
Like I said, it's funny that he wasn't in the story because he could have thought Soul Edge or Soul Calibur was a piece of Eden, the MacGuffin. I know nothing about Assassin's Creed, but you know, if it's something that would have fit thematically, you'd think they would have done that. Maybe they just didn't get the license or the dev time to put him in the story proper. I don't think any of the guest characters in this game are part of the story. They're just there. Because the story mode is that whole different Libra of Soul, I think it is? No. It's the other thing. It's like a story mode for each character. I never did that. Lame. I primarily play Soul Calibur for the verses. A couple people I know. I don't usually play it for the story. That hits off the ground, I think. Yeah.
For one to gain, another must lose. It's such a cruel world.
She's so sad. There's so many brooding characters in these games. Oh boy, Geralt again.
A history of conflict repeats itself at this old siege.
Iconic said that, and the overall story seemed rushed. You're talking about 5, where Ezio's in the game.
Come on.
They gave very little thought to the story in 5.
Fight!
Good luck.
Still annoys me just thinking about it. What does the rose thing do? Does it tell me? Oh, Jesus, it's windy outside. Okay, Rose Perception at max changes the way a lot of the attacks come out. I just don't remember how it changes them. Iconic says, my favorite part of guest characters is justifying them being there. Favorite being Nicole, a random Halo Spartan getting lost in a time warp and deciding to join DOA tournaments to kill time until the warp drive is fixed. I haven't seen a DOA game in a while. I've never played that series. I don't like the idea of playing fighting games one-handed. That's why I'm not a biking main. Those are more like wrestling games than standard fighting games, though. Again, I'm not knocking the hustle, it just never really appealed to me that much.
Nuisance.
Conic says, it's pretty fun if you can swallow the horny. That's a quote. That's a quote that can be taken out of context. Ow. Nintos.
You care for far too many things.
I could just hear the Evanescence playing every time she talks. She's an interesting character. She's just so sad and so mopey. Hey, it's Yoshi. Yoshi has a cool costume in every single game. And it gets weirder and weirder. Like, this is probably his most toned down of the Soul Calibur costumes. And his Tekken outfits. He's usually some sort of weird alien monster man. And this one is just kind of an Oni.
Victory goes to the last one.
Yeah, I like the color palette. The red and blue is pretty neat. He still has the mechanical arm, right? Yeah, looks like it. I like Yoshi. I used to know him a lot better and played him a lot in this game. He's pretty fun. He's like Voldo with a sword. Very unpredictable. Hard to predict. Hard to pin down fast.
Nuisance.
You lost her shoes. Alright, be right back on it. Iconic. Oh. This will probably be the last arcade mode for the night, but I'm almost halfway through, so we'll keep going for now until we get to the end.
Hope only brings. You wanna?
Battle one.
Alright, Voldo, what you got?
Enjoy.
Oh, the stagger.
Battle 2. Fight.
Uh-oh. Oh, I parried the super by accident. That's lucky.
Battle 3. Fight.
Crumples. Uh-oh.
Battle 4.
Peerless.
Fight.
Enjoy. This is it. That hurt.
All right.
Final battle. Fight.
One more.
On guard. This is it. That hurt. Time for bed.
Oh, I am too far away. Haven't seen her super yet.
Enjoy.
Ah. That could have gone better.
Battle 1. Fight.
Here. Enjoy. Here.
Okay, that's a white rose.
On guard.
That's a different buff state from what I remember.
You're mine.
Okay, she's got to follow up with A, B.
Fight.
Good luck. You're mine.
Oh no, that's just forward A, B by itself. Oh, no. I didn't even notice the rose counter on the left. That's always been there. Get out of here.
Battle 3. Fight.
Good luck. On guard. Good luck. Time for bed.
Land it. There we go.
Sleep eternally.
That's right. It's one with the flowers.
I live so as not to lose.
The battle is over. Show respect.
The words of a loser are meaningless.
Like Onyx says, I return. The entirety of the time you were gone was me trying to beat Voldo. I think he beat me twice. Ah, it's Tira. Little Miss Crazy Pants.
In a cursed
Hey, Gloomy, can I kill this one?
That weapon.
Battle 1. Fight!
Good luck. Useless. Pathetic.
Aw. Aw, man.
Battle 2. Fight!
Throw, where you at? Tira's whole deal is that she has different personalities that she switches between either automatically or manually, and it changes her moveset when she's either like happy or gloomy. It's kind of an interesting mechanic. I swear she didn't do that in 3 when they introduced her. Maybe she did and I don't remember. But they made it almost like a stance mechanic as opposed to just moveset. Onyx says, well, none of her looks are bad, none top her look in 3, where she was just like Bird Assassin Harley Quinn.
Battle 4. Fight!
Really kind of doubled down on the bird motif as the games went on.
Watch and learn.
Not bad.
Sure or not, this is where you meet your end.
Okay, we should be getting close to the end of arcade mode. Oh, we got all the edgy characters in a row.
If I die, he would be very upset.
My mission is what matters.
Battle 1. Fight!
On guard. Useless.
Catherine announcer Edge. I never played Catherine.
Battle 2.
Looked interesting.
Fight! Take this!
The style and the aesthetic was cool. I just never played it.
On guard. Useless.
Get out of here. Like Anna says, it is very interesting, but makes my brain hurt.
Battle 3. Fight!
Yeah, as a puzzle concept seems interesting. Surprised they didn't do anything else with that franchise.
Take this! Nimue embrace!
Get out of here. He ran out of Catherine's.
For one to gain,
K.
another must
The
lose.
C.
It's such a cruel world.
And a Q?
Congratulations.
I know about the one with the Q. Alright, took us 17 minutes to get through with Amy versus, was it 23 or 24 with Raph? Not bad. I think I just like the way her combos flow a little bit better. I don't know how to do a lot of Amy's parry states like Raph does, but it's not bad. Here, Story Chronicle. This is the canon story of this game. I did play through Libra of Soul, which is kind of interesting. It's where you create your own character and you're basically an OC in the world of Soul Calibur, which is kind of neat. Catherine Full Body added Q option. Full Body was basically special edition. I remember seeing when that was released. Not having a ton of eyes on the franchise, just knowing about it. That does sound familiar. I'm not going to spend any length of time on the creator, but I did want to kind of show what this mode is. You can either do an OC or customize the cast, which is kind of neat. You can choose all these different human adjacent, or non-human characters. You can literally be a skeleton, which is kind of fun. Is new? I remember the Colossi being on there. Doppelgangers. Malfested. Which are not vampires. Lost Soul, Demon People, Elves, People. I wonder if I have all of the outfits and clothes. You choose the style, so your OC has to have a style from one of the characters in the game. I kind of wish they'd bring back the unique weapon styles. I think there was 3. Was it 3 that had the unique weapons? And they all had their own movesets? Kind of missed that. Either 3 or 4 when they introduced that, and it was in one game. You could do some interesting stuff with the character customization in this game. You can adjust things like build as well if you want to have an absurdly stacked character. You totally can do that. I think there's been a couple packs that have been released, but I don't own them. We'll see. Maybe I'll work on creating some unique characters to play around with next time. Yeah, good, pretty robust character creator in Soul Calibur 6. It's one of the neat things that they kind of built on. But yeah, I think that will do it for our initial look at one of my favorite franchises. And I missed a follow from Alamotion. I don't know if we heard from them at all, but thank you for the follow, especially if you're still here. We will definitely come back to this game, especially during Fighting Game Month. I'll figure out how all that's going to work. I still gotta go through the list of games I want to check out. Iconic says, thanks for the whole time as always. Hey, no problem. I appreciate you hanging out, Iconic, especially since you're also a Soul Calibur player, so we'll figure something out in the future. Before we jump off, let me go take a look at the homie list and see who's online. It is a little bit late on a Friday. I don't normally stream right around now. Oh, Matt's live. I forgot that Matt was streaming this evening. That is also unusual for him. Let us go say hi to Red Shirt Guy, who's playing Ocarina of Time. Normally he streams Saturday mornings. He must have switched it up for today. So let's go say what's up to Matt. So we will mute this and we'll go to outro. And we'll be back on Sunday. We'll be drawing on Sunday. Should be pretty mellow. But thanks again for everyone who came and hung out, and I'll catch you folks later. Let me cue this up. Before I get everything set up for the raid, and then we'll go see what's up to Matt.